Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself. There's no one I can turn to. All the feelings that we share.
Today's episode, we are going to work on the Honda Pilot. And so technically here, I'm trying to prepare this vehicle for the winter. And as you know, it's basically upon us here now. And besides from actually trying to get the tires all set up for winter, I'm also trying to work out some kinks that I've been having issue with on the car. It's been basically deferred for so many years. So technically, I'm trying to get that the left and outer tie rod ends, and basically the inner and the outer tie rod ends for this Honda Pilot is basically it's loose, and that it requires change now. So both the outer and the inner on the right side, and also the outer and inner on the left side. So anyways guys, stay tuned. That's what we're going to be working on, and check back in a bit. Well folks, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do here. Here's our tie rod ends. Basically that's the inner, and this is the outer. So we are replacing the whole 9 yards and go from there. Here's our old tie rod end. Basically, I put it back together to show you guys the actual length of it. Anyways, guys, our replacement parts are here, and here's the outer, and here's the inner. What I'm gonna do here is that I have set the revolution, or counted how many revolutions I did to remove this out of the arm. And so I counted about 18 and a half turn. And that's basically what I'm going to do, is that when I put the new one in, I'm going to do the 18 revolutions to put it back in. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. I'll be putting it back here. And like I said, I'm going to show you the step-by-step on the other side. Well, I just want to show you guys the other trick that I do to make sure that I got the approximate length that I be putting it back in. One of them is really to count revolution on how much I turn the outer arm when I'm actually removing it. But the other way I do is that the old one, put it back in based on the revolution that I have counted, which is 18.5. And then what I do is I also screw the other arms together, and as you can see, I can gauge the exactness of the two parts. As you can see there, it's matching here, and as well at the end, matching the edge of this and also the edge of that. As you see how they're equal there. Not necessarily the bolt itself, but the face here. Similarly on here, as you can see, the two bolts are lined up together nicely. As well as the ball part is together there. As you can see, they're almost identical onto the outer arms tie rod ends. The outer tie rod ends are pretty much the same, and the inner ones are slightly different. But as long as this part here matches, that's the closest basically here, so that we can literally drive the car to the shop and without worrying that I'm totally offline on the alignment. So with this case, then at least I know that it's not off too much in that sense. So anyways, just a tip for you guys there. Driver's side has been completed, and we're gonna work on the other side now, and I'll show you exactly what I have done step by step. All right, folks, first step is to unmount the tire, the whole wheel.
Relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on. Moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on. I'm moving on.
All right, folks, the next step would be is to now work on our tie rod ends, inner and outer. So I have pretty much came here yesterday, and as you can see, I did pre-sprayed some of the bolts, so that way just ease up our work here. First step is to get our cutter pin out. Forgive my head here, it's going to be on the way. Hopefully this thing is easy to remove. Sometimes just gotta knock it just to get rid of that, some of that dirt. As you can see, guys, it's seized. Basically what we need to do is try to and see if it does move a little bit. Yeah, it's moving. So sometimes this breaks because it's pretty much fragile now, but just have to wiggle it a little bit here.
Your relationships are never meant to last.
Yeah, the next step would be is to get that nut out, and once that nut out, then we have to pop this baby out, the ball joint here, and then one after the other. So for this nut underneath here, I'm going to use a breaker bar to break that loose.
Your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on.
It does help quite a bit if, you know, again, we pre-spray this ahead of time, like say a couple of days beforehand. I like to leave this nut in there for now, so I can pound it with a hammer and see if we can pop this out basically in the process.
Won't you take me to that place? Take me to that place. Won't you take me to that place? Won't you take me to that place? Won't you take me there, man? Because you said enough, you said enough, you said enough. Because you said enough, you said enough.
Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself. There's no one I can turn to. All the feelings that we shared are in the past. Your relationships are never meant to last.
Hey folks, slight difficulty on the video. Wasn't able to record the removal of this outer tie rod. Basically what I have done is once I undid the locking nut. Let's see if I can get this out here. Just too light. So once I undid this thing, I basically counted the revolution and how many turns. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically I counted that revolution based on how many turns and recorded that, of course, so that way I could use that in the installation. So anyways guys, that's what piece that was missing on the removal of this outer tie rod. Well folks, finally got the boot out. Basically there is a zip tie that is holding the back that I had to cut, and also the front as well. There's a zip tie here, so now this whole thing pretty much ready to come out. And there goes the inner tie rod. And as you can see guys, it's not so bad. I guess you know, if you're changing the other side, might as well change both in the process. It just, you know, helps for longevity, that is. So anyways, I'll be taking this out and putting the new one in. I do have a bit of moisture coming out of there on the steering rack there, so I'm not sure exactly where that's coming from. So maybe it's steering fluid coming out. So maybe I have to get that checked as well. Lastly folks, you need to check this, make sure that there's no tear whatsoever, or else you have to replace it. All right, to remove this inner tie rod, I do have this tool. It's a clamp basically that just wraps around that inner tie rod. And before we do so, it's a good idea to unfold the untie. There's this little lip there that is folded so that way it doesn't actually undo itself in the process. So it's basically a locking mechanism there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a screwdriver or one of those punch holes, and just a lot easier to remove this baby out. Well folks, I'm ready to remove the inner tie rod now. As you can see, that tool that I have there, it's like a clamp that's what I'm going to be using to remove this tie rod. What I need is that I have this extension with an adapter that would sit right in here, and then that's basically what we need to undo this whole tie rod. Well, here's the finally got the tie rod, inner tie rod, and now just gotta get the new one in, and then we'll go from there. Well, folks, using the same mechanism, I basically snugged the new tie rod end in the process, and using that same tool. Now I'm putting the outer tie rod, and we should be all good from here. And by the way, the revolution is the same as the other side. It's 18.5. So I'm going to be putting the new tie rod in the same revolution, that is. So, well, time to install the new one in. I have, finger tightened the whole rod all the way in, and now I did it with the ratchet, but now I'm just gonna make sure I snag it with the breaker bar, so that way it's nice and tight.
Relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on. Moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on.
Well, lastly, folks, there's this locking tab. It's basically like a washer that you have to bend, as you can see there. I have bent it, a locking mechanism, so that way it doesn't, loosen up on us in the process. See, this washer it looks like a washer technically, but in the inside diameter there is a locking tab mechanism that adapts to that shaft over there, and that locks everything for us in the process. So it just needs to be pinched this side and also on the other side here, so that way it will never loosen up. So what I do basically here to pinch that tab is one of this plier. What I did is use that and basically try to pinch it flat in the process there. Same thing here.
Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to.
And then I'll do the other side as well.
I'm not myself. There's no one I can turn to.
That's pretty much it, guys. By the way, you can get those. The aftermarket sometimes don't come with those tabs, and so you just have to go to the dealer, and you can get them for about six bucks each on both sides, and make sure you use those as a locking mechanism. The next step then would be to put this boot back. To do so, gotta remove this nut, and we will need to put a new die to tighten this up in the process. And I did some cleaning inside this a little bit. There's some moisture in there that as much as I can. It's right here. You want to load this thing, preset it in the process, orientate it in the position so you could actually easily tighten it yourself, because there's not enough room to play with underneath there. So now it's sitting nicely there. Just gotta tighten the tie more. So we'll need the second tie right in here in the lower side. Now we'll just need to snip those the ends of those ties here. There you go. It's nice and sealed.
See the brand new one, guys. As you can see, I can't barely move it. You know, it's tough, really. So you can tell it's fairly new. So now time to put the new outer one. Make sure we got this, this bolt in here for locking the outer tie rod, and it's what's required, will be what's needed to do the alignment later on. Is that's the adjuster to use for locking the proper adjustment and the alignment in the process. Our brand new tie rod end sitting here, and I verified the orientation from the one that I took out, and it's the same basically, so should be all good to go. As you can see, the old one down here, making sure that they're the same orientation, and pretty much just put it in. So the revolution is the same. Technically it's 18 and a half. So I count from the moment that I have it stable here. Oops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18, yeah. So that's basically where our orientation is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're pretty much done. I got the cotter pin in place, the one that came with the product. Pretty much just have to bend that in. The bolt is also in place already in the process. Everything is snug. I just gotta tighten this knot over here until I bring it into the nut for alignment, and we should be all good. Put the tires back in place and we should be all done.
All the feelings that we shared are in the past. Your relationships are never meant to last. All the feelings that we shared are in the past. Your relationships are